What we're talking about is why arts matter here at International School Bangkok. Just a little bit about myself. I came and guest conducted in 2007 for the Bangkok International Choir Festival. So that's my background. I am an arts teacher. And at that time, met the then head of school, Andy Davies, who um, was interested in my work and put out sort of a soft invitation. If the choir job were to become available, would you be interested? To which I said yes, not knowing what that meant to move my family from Seattle, Washington internationally, but it sounded like an adventure. Fast forward to 2009-10 school year, and there was a vacancy. And so Andy reached out, I applied, and the rest of the story is that we resigned our jobs in Seattle and went on this adventure to Thailand for at that time what we thought was 2 years. This is now year 16. Our youngest son was 5 months old at the time, and he's now a sophomore in high school. And we've had two kids graduate from ISB, one in 2013, Amanda, who lives in Brooklyn, New York, works in STEM, but is a stand-up comic. And then our son, Zach, is a musician, but he's studying finance and accounting at University of Washington. And my wife, Jackie, is the head of social emotional counseling in the high school. We've stayed for 16 years, really not because of the incredible professional experiences that we've had or living in Thailand, this amazing country, but rather through the lens of our kids. And I would love to have been a kid like they are at ISB. And that'll, I think, center our conversations tonight is what an amazing place it is for kids to explore who they are and what they want to be. And that, through my lens, at least, is through the arts. Some of the pictures that you see there are just a few sampling of visual art, a show that just was up through last week for the elementary students. Band students you can see there for a Celtic celebration. And then you see some of our advanced dancers and other visual arts, ceramics, and 2D work as well as theater tech students working in the background of one of our productions. So to frame our time together, I've told you a little bit about myself and why I'm here and why our family is here. Um, but I'd like to also talk a little bit about who we are and why I was interested in coming to teach first and then take on the arts director position here is that at ISB, uniquely, arts sit alongside science and math classes. They have equal time in the secondary program from grade 6 through grade 12 for students to explore what we believe is essential for all students, not just students going on in the arts, the different ways of thinking that arts allows our young people to explore. And arranging or looking at the world differently, we think is a vital skill needed for our young people in our world today. At the end of our time tonight, after I've kind of gone through telling you a little bit more about our amazing program here, is there'll be a time for you to ask questions and answers. I have my good friend and colleague, Rob Tyler, who's the director of advancement, who's kind of running the show in the background here, and then he's going to step in. There he is, and he'll take your questions that are typed in through the text boxes and then share those with me, and then I'll try to field those. So hopefully I'll answer some of your questions along the way. So who are we as a
Sorry,
school?
Anthony. Sorry to interrupt. We're still on the first slide. I think
Okay,
you got to click through a bit.
there we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm working on two screens here. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. Okay. So again, introductions. I've told you a little bit about myself and why we're here, arts at ISB, and then some Q&A at the end with Rob's help with that. So who we are as a school, and maybe our context is helpful before we start talking specifically about the arts. We have over 1,800 students representing 65 nationalities and 75 years as a school, which started as a small campus for younger children on the U.S. Embassy campus, was on Soi 15 in downtown Bangkok, up through the first, say, almost 40 years, and then out at our present campus for over 35 years. We are celebrating in 2026 and into the first part of 27, again, 75 years as the premier school in Thailand. In the 90s, we secured a plot of land in North Bangkok suburbs, which we own. The size of the campus has been a huge unlock. It allows us to host a variety of programs that other schools can't. When we were on our downtown campus, we could only build up. And so, in terms of field space for athletics, multiple arts facilities, we were pretty um, locked into that space. This has freed us up from space rationing constraints downtown. 75% of our students live in the neighborhood in Nichita that surrounds the school, and this is our superpower and allows us to run programs until 8 p.m. So again, back to my family is our youngest, his name is Cruz, was riding bikes safely to friends' houses within Nichita from the almost the time that he was walking, it seems like. And that's just been such an amazing experience is that the school serves as a hub of the community, really for kids, but also for the adults. It's always on. And so Nichita surrounds the community, again, with about 75% of our families. Our approach to the arts begins with 7 kind of mutually exclusive elements. When you look at these elements individually, you will see how our program is very difficult to replicate in other
Sorry,
places.
Anthony, you still got to move forward one.
Thank you so much, Rob. You're going to have to keep reminding me about
Yeah.
that. So again, 7 mutually exclusive elements that sort of define arts at ISB. And when you look at these elements individually, you will see how our program is very difficult to replicate in other places and how one of these elements influences the other. For example, you'll see how the nature of our facilities enables a broad catalog of programming, which in turn influences the outcomes for our students. So very proud, and we'll come back to this, but we just finished our renovation of our largest theater. We have two big theaters on campus, but this one seats up to 820 with flexible seating. And it's a world-class facility, maybe one of the best in Bangkok and the region. And that informs what we're able to offer to kids, both in their own performances, but also inviting others in to use our space and expanding what we think of as our community. So context, talent, that's both student and teachers and guest artists. Philosophy, we've talked a little bit about that already, that we think that arts are important for all kids. What program offerings this allows us. The facilities that we have, 27 practice rooms for music students, serves not only our daytime programs curricularly, but also the 250 students that are involved in our after-school lessons program. We have partners, both when I say corporate, we have a long-standing relationship with the International Festival of Dance and Music that allows us first dibs at guest artists to come in and work with our students exclusively. And then ultimately the outcomes, and not outcomes for necessarily students who are planning to go on the arts, that's a given, but rather the changes we see in students that might not know that they like the arts and how that changes their own perspective on the world, but also how they see themselves. Most importantly, these 7 elements, when combined, create one culture of arts at ISB. Simply put, ISB is a special place to be an artist. And I think you can think of your own kids, if they're older, when they were younger, there was this sort of unbridled enthusiasm around I am fill in the blank, a soccer player, an artist, a singer. And I was so impressed at the first assembly that I attended as a new teacher here, to see students of a very high caliber presenting in the arts in front of 700 high school students. But I also, in that first assembly, heard a student who was a pianist that I don't know I would characterize as being exceptional as a piano player, um, but was exploring an area of passion for them, had signed up to be in the assembly, and different than my high school experience when I was teaching in the US. What I was amazed by is the support that this student had from their peers, that they were in a safe environment with that large of an audience and that they could share their themselves, I guess, through that art. And that's been part of the last 16 years for me as a director of arts. We have an outdoor stage that is bar none, I think one of the best outdoor facilities in the world for student performances. And we'll have kind of an open mic there tomorrow night. And I can guarantee you there will be exceptional performances that are world class. And we'll also have students maybe trying something out with a group of friends for the first time. Maybe it's their first time on stage, and the audience will be equally supportive of all those kids. Just a beautiful experience. I love it. We do that a couple times a year. This is our spring version. Artists Under the Stars is what it's called. It's important to recognize Thailand also as a place of cultural richness and expression.
Anthony, move on one.
Yep, we mirror the culture that we're part of. And I think that that both is just by happenstance, but also it's so rich here culturally that we can't help but match that in the offerings that we have here. Much of this comes down to the sustained promotion and patronage of the arts from the former king, King Rama IX, seen on the left in these photos. He was a musician and both composer and player, and cultivated that throughout Thai society in young people. Thai royalty is still involved in promoting Thai arts and crafts and support many artistic institutions like the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Beyond traditional arts and crafts, many of which are recognized by UNESCO, Thailand has a burgeoning contemporary arts scene and is hosting increasing amounts of content on streaming platforms like Netflix. We just had a former ISB student who was involved with the making of the Cannes Film Festival Award for his film about ghosts, friendly ghosts, as it were. So, because of that richness, we're able to bring in not just guest artists to inspire our students and our teachers, or to learn new craft, maybe in the visual arts, bringing somebody in a few years ago to help us learn the art of printmaking became now a class that's offered because now our teachers can teach that. But we have local artists that are exceptional and world renowned for what they're bringing to the arts world, and they're right here at our doorstep. So last year we had over 60 guest artists. Um, I want to clarify that might involve an ensemble that comes onto campus, but including all ensemble members, traditional Thai musicians, dancers, visual artists for long residencies. Again, we had over 60 people working with our kids and with our teachers. And that number's pretty consistent over the last few years of having local and international practitioners inspiring the work that we do. Following the passing of Queen Sirikit just this year, ISB chose to acknowledge her passing through artistic expression. And that continues in every performance that we really take a moment to kind of remember her um, involvement in the arts and promoting that in Thai society for her lifetime. In a series of interactive exhibits, students were able to learn about and participate in the many art forms that Queen herself worked to protect as cultural heritage. One of her pet projects was to encourage rural farmers in Thailand in times where maybe crops weren't successful or it was in between crops, just from a livelihood standpoint, to learn and continue the rich history of traditional Thai arts and crafts. And so there was both an artistic bent to her initiative, but also taking care of local farmers in rural areas to make sure that they had a sustainable livelihood. And I've already talked about this some, but our talent. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without the support of our incredible instructors, guest artists, and parent partners who all bring their passion to student learning. And so, as an international school, we hire educators from around the world who bring international point of view to local Thai students, which makes up about 27 to 30% of our student population. And then again, 65 nationalities represented on campus. That is equally as rich within our instructors. And so we seek the best from around the world. ISB is not only a tier one school within Thailand, but is considered one of the best international schools in the world. And so we attract some of the best teachers. Local instructors, I've already talked about the wide array of guest artists that we bring in, but we also have in my office 150 coaches working across arts and activities in after school programs. And I like to think of it that while the 7 to 3 time is while your student are coming to ISB as they continue to work academically toward graduation and then matriculation into some of the best universities in the world. We also have incredible learning that happens 3 to 7 or 3 to 8 in this case. And so the 150 that I just mentioned are working in extensions of the passions that kids have during the day. So that's everything from Panther dance to Panther music, the lesson program that I talked about, to Panther Arts, which offers extensions of arts programs in visual, audio or recording arts, performing arts after school for secondary students. And then we also have Panther Explore for our youngest students in elementary to try something for the first time. Although in that case, there are some classes that continue to have kids sign up for season after season where they can do a deeper dive. And we also have a lot of parent involvement. And so that can look like our arts representatives from Boosters who are at every one of our arts events, not only to support, but to encourage other community members to become involved. We have a community chorus, a community strings program, a community jazz band. And then we have local artists like Ina, who, as an alumni parent, has become heavily involved in our after-school dance program and in our Explore program offers Zumba, which is an easy access place for our youngest Panthers to kind of try just movement, less pressure, say, than a rigorous ballet class. Two of those instructors that I just mentioned in terms of that international collection are Augusta Harrison Denby. She's the head of our high school drama program, but has also taught creative writing here and has been involved in our yearbook and our student newspaper or our publication called the Panther Online. She leads our after-school drama programs for the high school and also serves as a coordinator for our dance, drama, and film program, secondary grade 6 through grade 12. And then in a new role, she also oversees our AP program in high school and will be part of the arts leadership team starting next fall, specifically in the curricular arts, representing visual and performing arts. Sarah Bailey works as an artillerista in our Reggio program with our pre-K 1 and pre-K 2 students. And she's on her second stint at ISB. Her kids have grown up here. And Sarah is both a dancer professionally and a visual artist, the perfect person to be leading the 100 languages that are present in Reggio as kids respond to math expressively. If you walked into our early childhood center, you'd see basically arts centers set up in every room. And what we believe in that Reggio approach is instead of kids going to art or going to music, is that it's intertwined with all other areas that they're learning. And each of the teachers, through Sarah's leadership, has become a teacher of arts as well as other subjects within those classes. It's this beautiful space. It's meditative. There's usually light music playing in the background and just artwork from the kids everywhere. It's pretty incredible. And those are just two. I'm going to jump ahead to Bobby, who is a double bass player who plays with the Thai Philharmonic. And we have a number of Philharmonic orchestra members that work with our Panther music program serving our individual lesson program. So Bobby is a regular in the orchestra classroom as well. And so because we have some of these incredible teachers in our after school program, oftentimes you'll see them coming in to do sectionals within our music ensembles or working with student projects outside of school. Just recently, we had Kun Punch here for a month-long residency. You can see her background in terms of her education. But as an artist in Thailand, Punches has an international reputation for creating sort of whimsical ceramic permanent installations. And so, enamored with her work, our visual arts team formed a partnership with her to come out and basically create that piece that you see in the photo here with our students. And so, to take you through a little bit of that, um, the kids designed the piece through drawings, 2D drawings, and then Kun Punch helped them as they worked through the 3D aspects, creating each of the segments of these different characters, glazing, talking about how they would place this on a permanent structure, working with our buildings and grounds and our architects and also our carpenters to now make this part of our sort of art garden, which sits in between our high school, middle school, and elementary visual arts classes. And so this is just her here at the opening. We had about 150 people there when we did the ribbon cutting, and that was just about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Again, just one of 60 guest artists that we'll have on campus this year. And this is Ina Milana that I talked about earlier. She's a dancer and a mom, and her kids graduated just a few years ago, but she's stuck around in the community and is a rich contributor to our after-school programs, volunteers as well as leads some of those classes. And you can see her there with a group of moms who are also involved with Parent Zumba. We have a Bollywood dance troupe that is a regular fixture of our intercultural food fair in the spring. And then we have a world stage event there with parents as well as student performances. And again, the Bollywood dancers are a regular fixture of that. A little bit about our philosophy. Key skills across pre-K through 12 arts. You can read these. I don't need to necessarily read them to you, but you can look from the Reggio all the way, say, through grade 5 and then into the secondary programs is arts are all of those things. Storytelling, and storytelling can be both on stage through acting or writing scripts. And we encourage self-expression through any arts classes that the kids are involved with. All 700 of the elementary kids are involved in 2 out of 6 days visual arts classes, as well as 2 out of 6 days with music, which is through the ORF curriculum, which explores movement and response to art as well as learning the skills of music making. And I talked about earlier why we think arts are important for all kids is the problem solving that is present in an arts classroom is unlike any other. So if a visual artist is approaching a painting and they're exploring different textures within that 2D piece, they might make a mistake and then have to solve that without scrapping the art. And that's a problem that an artist makes all the time. Or how might a violinist approach a phrase of music when playing with an ensemble? Those are things that we're engaging not just in the doing, but also the metacognition, asking kids to think about what it is that they want to do through their art, what it is that they're trying to say, and how that reflects who they are. We talked a little bit about the Reggio-aligned approach, and we're starting to see evidence of how that impact and that sort of free approach to responding through those 100 expressive languages is really evidenced as kids then go into more discrete learnings in the arts in K through 5 and then grade 6 through grade 12. but the kids that have gone through that Reggio program are some of our most expressive and creative individuals. I see the through line, and that's Sarah's only been here a few short years when we've gone from Reggio inspired to a full Reggio approach for our youngest kids. We see increased student participation and reflective learning that follows when artistic expression is received without negativity. So an example of this would be a recent dance class. A parent came in the after school program. This was just this week, and I called them in to understand that they had a concern. And the parent was talking about while they're old school in their approach with their kids, kind of rough, that the daughter had come home in tears, understanding that one of the other students had referred to them through a derogative term of lazy. And so my response was to say, I'd like to check that out, and we don't want that for your kid. I'm really sorry that they had their feelings hurt. I'd like to have a little bit more context with that. So went to the instructor to find out a little bit about what they were doing in class and what might have been said. And in that conversation, the lesson that they were talking about was not using language like that, but rather instead of talking about our approach not being with full energy, instead using aspirational words. We want to see everyone engaged as we do this next run through of the dance that we're learning today. And then talking about critique being related to positive specific praise. I just saw the most amazing line in the dance from our front row of dancers. They were really giving a full stretch between our movements. Remember that we talked about the pose being sort of a picture we're creating for our audience. And it seems like the second row wasn't quite getting that full extension that I saw in the front row. So in that example of teaching, which I would say I would see every day on our campus in our music classes and our visual arts and our other performing arts classes, is specific praise. You're doing this well. Now I'd like to see you maybe try something similar, or what might we be able to do to make this other section better? And what happens with that approach to teaching is transformative to kids. Again, whether they're going to go on in the arts or they're just learning through the arts, is that specific positive praise about something that they're doing well, tied with something, just a single thing that they can maybe try differently, and then engaging the kids. Are there any other things that we might be able to go back and do even better this next time? That kind of metacognition is something that I think changes the way kids think. And again, this is meant to sort of through all of the different talking points tonight, but what our program offers kids. So this is just a little visual of what that looks like if you're looking at the timetable. And I'll try to decipher this for you. In the yellow, that's that 7 to 3 time that I talked about that is so important. That's why you're coming to ISB with your kids, is the incredible, when I say academics, I'm including arts in that, the learning that takes place during the day from the beginning of their first class until class is out and they're going on to maybe some more learning after school. The lunches that are shown there reflect different lunch times for elementary, middle, and high, but we have 2 cafeterias and a layered approach to that where kids have, access and freedom in terms of food choices, things like that too. And then when we go to after school, think of it like this. If I'm really into dance, I might sign up for 3 different mediums of dance or 3 different genres. And in doing so, I might have more time in that after school program with that coach or coaches than I might be studying one academic subject during the day. Soccer at the varsity level might be an example in athletics where a coach might be with that student and there are other team members for 10 plus hours with, say, a tournament at the end of the week. We believe that the learning that takes place there is equally as important to what's happening in that 7 to 3 time, and in some cases might have a direct impact in the after school program and how the student is approaching their learning during the day. So we talk about alignment, um, talking about learning targets in after school programs, not fluff, not just signing up to kind of fill time, but rather extensions or exploration of things that kids are trying to find out if they're passionate about or if they're wanting to do a deeper dive. Our campus closes by 8 p.m., but it's full on from 7 until that time. And then we have a full array of activities or events that happen on the weekend as well. The place kind of doesn't sleep. Although in the last year, we've adopted, with a couple of exceptions, a no Sunday activity policy to give both our human beings a rest and a time to just kind of reflect on the week in the past and look towards the next week, but also to give our fields breathing time, to give our support staff some breaks as they're preparing for the next week as well. Our program, our visual art and performing arts ecosystems. It's also important to acknowledge that even during the school day, students participate in these areas that I've talked about by high school students who are in the arts. Can even pursue dedicated curricular pathways related to the arts in the school day. So you've probably learned a little bit when you've looked at ISB about pathways in high school, allowing kids to go full IB in their junior and senior year, International Baccalaureate, or choose a pathway of rigorous advanced placement courses, AP courses, a combination of IB and AP, or a high school diploma where students might be able to take multiple arts classes as they go on to look at some of the top art schools in the world. We've had students at Berklee School of Music, RISD in visual arts. We just had a student back here as a guest artist who is now a professional musical theater actress, singer, and dancer, Imogen Alexander, who's working in that field in Australia. In elementary, you can see at the top left-hand corner of the screen there, ceramics, construction and sculpture, drawing, painting, printmaking, textiles, digital art, and photography. Um, music history. So not only looking at ex exploring music from the making or responding to it in movement, but also understanding its historical context, its cultural context, music as a language that goes beyond borders, and music as a community maker. Our COLs in the elementary school in music, celebrations of learning, a number of years ago, we moved away from performances where the kids were working towards a 30-minute presentation, lots of effort for just the product, to inviting parents to come in and spend about 40 minutes with an interactive presentation where kids are certainly sharing things that they've been doing in class from a presentational standpoint, but also inviting parents onto the stage with them to learn some of the instruments or the patterns that they're learning, and even some folk dancing. And so what we've seen and the responses we've gotten from parents is instead of it being a passive audience and kids getting nervous about a presentation, the kids are so proud to share what they've been learning in those classes. Again, back to that metacognitive piece, they're able to explain it. And by teaching it to their parents, they gain a level of mastery around what they've been learning that surpasses none. Middle school, kids now have arts classes in their sixth grade year, which are mandatory. Again, back to we think arts are important for all kids. So every sixth grader is involved in visual arts for a semester, and performing arts six looks at dance, movement, or stage and acting. And then all students take a year of either choir, band, or orchestra. In seventh and eighth grade, they can continue to do a deep dive in those areas that they've discovered passion in, or they can continue to kind of do a wheel approach where they're trying a lot of different things, including STEM through our robotics courses and CAD drawing classes. But those are electives from seventh and eighth grade. Um, 95% of our kids take four arts or design classes in their seventh and eighth grade year. Um, and some of that 5% are students that are taking an extra language class or are offered extra support academically. And in the high school, while there are opportunities for kids to try things for the first time, many of our students opt to stay, if they're, say, a violinist, in orchestra for all 4 years, offering them opportunities to apply for the honor orchestra or the honor band or the honor choir with AMI. We're a regular participant and partner in that organization. And then we host three large festivals in the high school: Bangkok International Choir Festival, Strings Festival, and Band Festival, where we invite schools and students from around the region to come here. We bring in a guest conductor, and the students spend a day and a half preparing music for a performance on a weekend for our local audience. IASIS is the the Interscholastic Association of Southeast Asia Schools, and ISB has been a member for over 40 years. In addition to the rich athletic opportunities that offers kids in both exchanges mid-season and then tournaments at the end of the seasons in season 1, 2, and 3, it also offers cultural conventions in art and film in the fall. We also offer a Model United Nations conference, and then in the spring, we have a music conference that we send 27 kids to or we host. Um, Dance, drama, and theater tech. We just hosted a couple of weeks ago here with all 6 schools participating from around the region. And then speech and debate, which is a competition or a tournament. And our kids have done really well over the last 5 years, I think, winning more medals than any of the other 6 schools. Those schools involved Singapore American School, Taipei American School, International School Manila, International School Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, and um, Jakarta Intercultural School. And so on a 6-year rotation, we hosted dance, drama, and theater tech again at the beginning of March. And then another school will host that, and we'll send kids to that school next year. Next year, we're hosting art and film here in November. And then our Panther programs I've talked a lot about already is the 3 to 7 time or the 3 to 8 time is where kids can take um, in the elementary school, or they can continue to extend their visual arts experiences by taking after-school ceramics or 2D art. We have a recording studio that is one of the best in Bangkok, and kids can sign up to use that using, I think we have 4 engineers that we're able to bring in to do student projects in there. That recording studio also supports our curricular music programs where kids can either do auditions in there or projects within their ensemble classes. And then exhibitions, concerts, and performances. And I've again touched on a number of these things, but you can see the long list here. I was just leading the calendaring process here for next year, and the arts and activities calendar filled up 2 pages of just individual events. And so just to highlight a couple, Legs for Legs, you see under Arts Council and Clubs, is actually a student-led collection of arts, or excuse me, dance performances, individuals as well as ensembles, that started over a decade ago, that raises money for the Thai Prosthesis Foundation. And so Legs, dancers for Legs, is literally raising funds to help people that need a new leg or a new arm. Artists and the Stars, I talked a little bit about, is tomorrow night, our spring version of that. And that'll be sort of a collection of different performing artists on our outdoor stage. Jazz night, we have an after hours jazz band and jazz choir that perform twice a year. And then out of that, students are able to try out for the AMI Jazz honor band and choir. Next year, that'll be at American School London. Last year, we sent 24 kids to Hong Kong for that event. Trium Music Honor Society is an honor society for high school musicians who are involved with our ensemble classes, and it's really a service organization. They do a benefit concert once a year as well. IB and AP Visual Art exhibition is going to open next Monday night in our new gallery. And then IB Film really is going to be moved to our after school and evening programs. This coming weekend, we're hosting the Hanuman Film Festival. We have award-winning filmmaker Phil Cox here from the UK, as well as a former ISB student. That Cannes Film Festival award winner that I talked about is going to be here to lead some workshops on Friday evening and Saturday. And then the ceramics installation, we already talked about Kun Punch. I'm
Anthony,
not,
just to sorry, just to interrupt. I think if we're going to have some questions at the end, I think we're going to have to move through this quite quickly. So
okay.
yeah, just a bit of
Talking,
a time check.
yeah, thanks, Rob. I'm talking too much, aren't I? All right. So a few of our past theater productions, again, elementary, middle school, and high school. Our musical productions, you can see Charlie Brown, Legally Blonde, Little Shop of Horrors was last fall, and then Moana in the bottom right-hand corner there, and Annie. The dance performance at ISS Dance Drama Tech was the best that I've seen in my career as an arts educator. We had 12 dancers that worked from November until their presentation in March. It was just amazing. So again, I think over 220 dancers involved in our after school program, and their big show happens in May, and that's elementary through high school students. Music program we've talked a lot about. You can see pictures of our band and orchestra there, our choir performances in two different theaters. And then our visual arts program starts at the beginning of the year with local Thai artists who've worked with our kids displaying their own artwork as our kids are making artwork for our first exhibition, which happens in the fall. We just finished our elementary school art exhibition with hundreds of pieces of art. You can see that in the right-hand corner, and collaborative pieces as well as individual. And then Monday night, we open our IB Year 2 visual art exhibition. And then following that will be our middle school visual art exhibition. Hanuman Film Festival, I just mentioned, happens this coming weekend this year. That's last year's version. And then faculty are involved as well. I talked about our community choir and strings, but we've had a panto performance the last 3 years here, which is a chance for our students to see our adults or our teachers taking risks, singing, acting, and maybe it'd be questionable to call it dancing, but some performings. And then our facilities. Talked about the beautiful Reggio space. You can see that there in the right-hand corner. You can see the artwork up on the wall, and you can see even elements that the kids can use to make their own art. And that's all of our pre-K1 and pre-K2. You can see different examples there. And our campus is a canvas. If you came to our campus about 15 years ago, I would say it looked like most schools. It was well organized, it looked clean. But now I proudly say that we're covering a lot of our spaces with guest artist work that they've done with students or student artwork. It's really everywhere as you walk around campus, including a permanent installation of guest artist work. There's the outdoor stage that I talked about. Isn't that incredible? And so we've had groups from Harvard perform there. We had a gospel choir from Morehouse University last year that was there, but we also have regular outdoor stage performances during lunches, like an open mic, and then again tomorrow night, our Artists Under the Stars event. That's our cultural center, which houses both our secondary performing arts programs in dance, drama, and music, as well as in the upper two floors, our world language program for middle school and high school. That houses also our 270-seat smaller theater called the Cultural Center Theater, as well as a gallery called the Cultural Center Gallery. Visual arts facilities, we have 7 different studios, including an advanced art studio for our IB and AP students to be able to come in and out, not only of their class time, but when they can come back to their artwork when they have breaks, lunches, and after school, and even on Saturdays. That's the advanced studio. Our dark room is one of the only in the region. And at one point, they were talking about taking it away, and we fought hard against that. It's become a hallmark of what we offer for kids who come into traditional photography and digital photography as one class, but are able to explore and manipulate film differently than a digital camera allows them to do. It really gets them a hands-on approach. And then we have 22 Macom tablets, which allow them to explore digital approaches to photography as well as animation and graphic design. Two full dance studios, and then two flexible drama and dance studios that can serve both our drama or our actors and our dancers. And those are alive in the after school programs. All four of them are used up until the late parts of the evening. And there's an example of our recording studio. And that's a professional group, a parent actually doing a recording that ended up being an album featuring some of King Rama the Nine's melodies. And one of our engineers that we worked with from Kim Lang Audio, who helped also design the studio. There's a couple of our practice rooms as well on the left-hand side. And these are our large ensemble studios that house our strings program, band, and choir. There's the smaller theater in the upper left and our new ISB theater um, featured in the center photo there. And again, there's an example of the brand new theater that we just opened this last fall after 2 years of renovating. Next fall, we'll be hosting the Bolshoi Ballet, and that's one of, I hope, many performances where now that the theater's been renovated, others in the world are wanting to come and perform here. We'll have the Harvard Crocodillos and the Radcliffe Pitches here for our 75th benefit concert, a 75th anniversary benefit concert on June 7th. That's the dance troupe that just performed at the beginning of March. And then I've already talked about these, so I'll just go quickly through the volunteer opportunities in the arts. Our boosters don't just support the athletics, they constantly are asking, what else are kids doing that we can support them and how can we celebrate them? IASIS we talked about. Those are our 8 delegates that went to the music IASIS event. We host it. There's a sample of our program when we hosted it last year, and then we did dance and drama and theater tech this year, and some examples of the performances and workshops there. AMI, Association of Music in International Schools, provides students the opportunity to work with honor groups, so the best musicians from other schools around the region. And we send students to band. They're right now in Taipei this week with our high school and middle school kids. And then choir. Strings was just away in Shanghai last week. And then we sent, again, 24 kids to Hong Kong for the Jazz Festival. New Talent Festival is a new partnership with a UK organization in their 10th year at um, the most prestigious music schools in London. This is their now uh, Southeast Asia version of that same festival. And we had almost 50 students participate. They're back again next year during our October break. And almost half of the students participating were ISB students last year, some of them winning an opportunity to go to London to perform at the summer festival. Talked about our visiting artists, including Cliptown, Gumboot Dancers, and that's both a partnership, both in learning about other cultures, but it's also supporting opportunities for education where kids might not have that. We have lots of examples of that. You can see the Young Americans down at the bottom left. We had ballroom dancers, professional, that were here last spring, the BYU ballroom dancers, and then again, the Harvard Crocodillos and the Radcliffe Pitches will be here in June. Samples of our guests, artists, and alumni. 2 of those pictures are former ISB students that are now artists out in the world and coming back to share their artistry with our kids. Pokapi is an internationally recognized guest artist that worked with our kids last year on large scale permanent art pieces for our campus. His artwork sells around the world. And then Dan Christian came and really taught our teachers about a new approach to 2D drawing and painting. A few of the organizations that we're involved with on an annual basis. And then here's four of our current students. Bella is just an amazing dancer. Wasu is an award-winning National Geographic photography. He's a sophomore in high school. Petty has won multiple competitions around the region and will be presenting later this spring as part of that benefit concert. And then I can't quite see that on my screen, sorry. Pi just released a small album on Spotify, and she'll be also featured in our June concert. Imogen Alexander, I mentioned earlier, Inc. is now working in theater tech in the UK. Jess Factor is a professional dancer. And Lisa Gillespie, opera, ballet, and musical theater performer from many years ago. And then Lydia is a very famous Thai pop singer, also a mom of current ISB students, and she'll be a featured artist at our benefit concert in June as well. But she's been back many times to support some of our ISB initiatives, but just an amazing human being and performer. And this is the event that I've been talking about quite a bit tonight, that Harmony for Hope. Our goal for the evening, when I say benefit concert for 75th, is throughout ISB's history, through the arts in particular, we've offered the opportunity to benefit others through the arts. And we're hoping to raise funds for 75 students through iCare Thailand to provide high school scholarships. Next step, submit an application if you've not already done so. Schedule a visit to our campus. Love to take you around and show you some of the facilities I just showed you in pictures, or contact our admissions for questions.
Very good. Okay, Anthony, thank you so much for that. We've got some questions here, so I'm going to encourage you to try and be brief in your answers
Yeah.
because they're coming through thick and fast.
Okay.
First one is, can sixth graders participate in the MS musical?
In the middle school musical, yes, and we do one musical every other year in middle school, but even the play this spring has musical features in it. It's called The Audition. So yes, sixth, seventh, and eighth graders can audition for and participate both in our theater sports at the middle school and the spring production.
Next one. My daughter is starting from grade six. How are the instruments decided if she's joining the orchestra?
So she'll have a chance to choose violin, viola, cello, or bass. And if she's not going to be here physically until the fall, that can be done when she arrives.
Okay, do we encourage written art, so playwriting, creative writing, in addition to acting and performance?
Yeah, in fact, we have student devised pieces that were just featured today in our IB celebration of dramatic arts or theater. And then in late April, the third week of April, we have student directed shows as well as student written shows, a series of one acts that'll be featured at that time.
Okay, great. My kid is in upper elementary school and plays the viola in orchestra. Is there an orchestra program in elementary? If not, what is the music option?
Okay, so for students that are currently, and it sounds like your son is already at this level, proficient or taking lessons currently, there's an option for upper elementary students to be called part of the Panther Orchestra. That meets once a week and they perform with the middle school and high school concerts in the fall and in the spring.
Okay, do you have any theatre acting opportunities for elementary school?
Yeah, so we have a musical. We're working on School of Rock right now. I'm doing the vocals for that. We have 53 kids involved in that production. We did Moana last year, and the year before that, we did Annie.
One question on the IB dance program.
So the IB dance program, as we started to adopt more AP classes, is one of the I guess, knock-on effects of trying to give more pathways for kids. And so my job as arts director has been to pivot. This is our last year of IB Dance to make that answer short. But this year, we've had more dance opportunities in our after school and evening programs for most advanced dancers, including that example that I gave of the 12 dancers, best thing that I've seen here since I've been here. And so we'll continue to build out in that. But the curricular IB dance class, its final year is this year. I am very hopeful in conversations with our principal that there are going to be some avenues to bring dance back in the curricular day. But for next fall, it'll be through our Panther dance program.
What age and level is ballet point class offered?
It's offered at our very youngest levels. We have elementary students, even our littlest kids, that are involved with ballet from the very beginning.
Okay. Are there any more questions? Very good questions, I have to add. Any other ones? Please just put them in the box there. Okay. We've got, oh, okay. That's a few coming through now. Is there an opportunity for guitar for elementary school students?
Guitar has been a regular feature within a unit, but now you can imagine with smaller hands too, is ukulele is taught annually in the elementary school, and they have a whole array of students instruments in the classroom to do that. And then we have a number of elementary students who take private guitar lessons in our after-school program, and I know that because I've seen them in the recitals at the end of first semester and second semester.
Okay. Are there opportunities to work on prop and set design for drama productions?
Yeah, all of our productions offer an opportunity for students to work alongside parents and our professional theater tech staff member as they design sets and build them and paint them.
Okay, great. And my child will be in eighth grade next year, loves both choir and playing guitar, but also wants to play volleyball. Are music teachers and sports coaches able to accommodate him in the different divisions, I guess? Or
Yeah, so in that specific case, choir's offered at all three divisions. In elementary, it's offered after school on Mondays, but then sports are offered Tuesdays and Thursdays. For upper divisions, so sixth grade through grade 12, choir is part of the curricular day. So there's an opportunity to sing and still do volleyball after school. I want to go back to the theater tech because I answered that from a set designing. We also have students that are involved in lighting and sound in terms of our productions at the middle school and the high school level.
Anthony, I think it's a miracle we've managed to fit so much in 1 hour. I'm still scratching my head how we managed to do that. So thank you so much. Any other questions before we wrap up now? Oh, okay. Right. So yeah, that's it. So just leaves me to say thank you very much, Anthony, for your time tonight. What you do is incredible. We've seen that tonight, how you keep all of this together. So thank you also very much for your 16 years here. You've really made a huge difference to so many students' lives, and thank you so much for everything you do.
Yeah, Rob, thanks for the opportunity. You can tell I'm passionate about what I do, and I do think that it transforms kids' lives. I've seen it. So if you're thinking about ISB as a parent, I can say it would be a great choice for your kids. I hope that you'll come here, and regardless of whether they're an athlete or a scientist, they will be involved in the arts in some way. We look forward to seeing you and meeting you.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time to join us this evening. There are two webinars next week, one on our college counseling program and the other one on our community life and life in Nichida. So please join us for those. But in the meantime, have a great rest of your week and a restful weekend. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.